Hey there, it's Dr. Amanda, Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, your favorite orthodontist dental facial orthopedist slash craniofacial orthopedist. Anyways, I'm going to start adding that, if I can remember, onto my videos moving forward because that's what I am. I'm not just a tooth mover. I'm a face grower. Anyways, and we need to think of ourselves that way. It's 2026. What if you need a Ceph? So I'm getting so many more pediatric dentists reaching out to me, which is actually what I really wanted to do. So this is awesome. I'm taking my consulting practice in a direction I wanted it to go, which was the pediatric space is the most fun for me. So this is the biggest barrier to entry is the Ceph machine. You don't need one. So there are so many workarounds out there. I'm going to go over the workarounds again. They're pretty much all in my channel already. If you go into the Ceph or CBCT or technology diagnostics playlist, I go over a lot of stuff. I've been making this content for, goodness, going on what, 7, 8, 9, 10 years now. So some of the stuff's a little old, but everything analog is still an option. So definitely listen to it. Let me just kind of take a deep dive. And you know what? One of the beauties of 2026 is that we've got AI and they can help us think of ideas. So I just went to my friend at chat and I just said, hey, I'm a pediatric dentist. I don't have a Ceph machine, but I do have a small FOV, CBCT, and regular, analog x-ray machine, or whatever, or digital x-ray machine, whatever. I just put up a scenario and I said, I want to start doing interceptive orthodontics. What are my options? And then I kept asking questions. All the barriers to entry that I know people ask, I did. So let's see what they said. And I haven't seen the answers. Obviously, if they're wrong, I'm not going to read them, but I'll make sure they make sense. So, okay. So basically, they said the same thing I've been saying all this time, which is let's talk about workarounds and outsourcing. So you've got your big workarounds, which is like the companies that already exist. Like I've talked to you before, we have in our city, we have imaging centers because it's an urban city, and dental radiologists have realized they can make money. So they set up imaging centers where you can come in and use their technology. They have scanners, iteros, cone beams. They have it all. So yes, the doctor or the patient pays a small fee and or they bill insurance depending on the situation. And they also can do the diagnostics interpretation. So obviously price point on that's going to be a little bit more, although in our city, I thought it was like extraordinarily reasonable. Maybe that's why they're never that busy. But I mean, for us, it was a no-brainer. So that's your mobile dental imaging vans and independent dental imaging centers. You just need to hit Google and see if you can find it. Now, sometimes those dental imaging centers are also medical imaging centers. So you need to see what they are, but the medical ones sometimes do dental. So you need to look into that. And to be honest, if you don't have one and you're in a pretty good metro area, well, you might have an opportunity. So look into that. Your next thing is to go to other friends, other specialists or other dentists. The issue with that is you don't want someone poaching your patient. So it's always good to find someone who has no interest in your patient. So if you're a pediatric dentist, find a periodontist, find an oral surgeon. They don't want your patient for primary, and they're not going to steal your ortho patient. So, the issue with that sometimes is just maybe, I mean, this is an independent business, so you have to really meet with the owner doctor and the staff and figure out how it works. Sometimes, it's the staff gets compensated on their off hours. Is something that they do. Obviously, they do it in a legal manner, but it incentivizes them to take care of your patient. So you want to make sure you have a good arrangement. You want to make sure you've got the billing, the delivery set up. Like, how are you going to get the file? Who's interpreting the file? So you got to work this all out. Who's paying for it? How is this going to work? How is it going to get scheduled? It's great if you go through all the boundaries and the burdens ahead of time. So in terms of reaching out to find these people, they're not going to find you. They're not going to know that you need this. You're going to have to find them, and you might reach out to 5 or 10. It's always great if it's already your existing person that you refer to, they already know you and they realize this is just a huge ROI for them because patients are going to come in and get familiar with their office, and if they ever need specialty work, they're definitely going to go there. So why wouldn't you do it, right? So I don't like the idea of picking orthodontists to do it, but sometimes you can. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been on the back end of that where people did use our office for Cephs. And we definitely, I'm not gonna lie, the staff will make a little comment on, are you sure you don't want to go here? They totally do it. So don't do that. Oral surgeon collaboration. Oral surgeons rarely compete with pediatric dentists for orthodontic or airway therapy. Your friend can offer to send his surgical referrals like complex extractions to the oral surgeon in exchange for allowing his pediatric patients to get their scans. I don't think you should do a total quid pro quo. I mean, because you can't promise they're going to get all your referrals. You know what I mean? And I think there should be something changing hands. I think they should be compensated. I mean, unless you're doing it under the table, but I can't tell you guys to do that. Your other option is to maximize or upgrade your small FOV CBCT. I've got other content on stitching it together, field of view upgrades, sectional airway analysis. You can do sectional. Obviously, you can't get a full Ceph number, but I can tell a lot from just a sectional. There's also trade-in problems for upgrade and things like that. So let's talk about some of the bumps that might happen. And we already talked about a few. So we talked about patient poaching. That's more likely to happen if you send to an orthodontist or another general dentist. So that's why I like to send to somebody that I'm not. Okay. Yeah. And even in our GP practice, if we don't send to the center in some of the locations, then we have oral surgeons that do it. And I'm not sure how they get compensated. Let's see. Keep in mind that every outsourced scan still needs to be sent to a remote OMFR, like beam readers or an independent person for an official read. Price point's usually $75 to $150, but it legally protects both dentists in this situation. And you cannot give or receive financial kickbacks for referring patients, but I already knew that. Okay. Financial and billing workflow. Direct billing is a great idea. Professional tech fee with the oral surgeon, flat fee, $7,500, $150. The oral surgeon just bills the office. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to do it. They just invoice the office at the end of the month. And then your office pays them directly. I don't recommend having the patients pay them. It gets really messy. I mean, I don't like that. You really should be, this should be part of your diagnosis. So you need to make sure this is the way you do things with the, it's just very clean, you know, you're never going to get audited. In terms of how to transfer the large files, this is the hardest part, the technical complications, because these CT scans generate massive DICOM files, right? You can't email the files. You have to have standard HIPAA compliant medical sharing tools. There are imaging ways to literally legally transfer raw files, you know. So find a way to do it. There's different types of healthcare, HIPAA compliant healthcare, you know, document transfer. I think there's like BioPack, Dropbox, Ambra, there's all kind of stuff, but I'm sure there's other ones as well. Then in terms of viewing, there are some, you know, viewing type of files you're going to have to, software you're going to have, you know, Blue Sky, Romexis, Vivo, things like that, in order to be able to view it. But I recommend having a professional script or a letter template so that you can go approach the offices, as well as a clinical imaging prescription form. So things to think about. Once you get this set up, and I'd have a few set up so that the patients can choose who they want to go to. I think it's a great idea. It's a win-win for everybody. And don't let the lack of Ceph stop you from taking ortho cases, because trust me, once you start doing phase 1 interceptive and get this Ceph issue solved, you're going to love it so much that it's going to pay for technology in your office. Guaranteed. It always does. Thanks.